Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton, and along with me is her who hath taken a hybrid hiatus, Bethany McChesney.
Wow.
You know what the funny thing is? I just did that one just before I came in here. I was like, crap.
I need that one on a shirt, but I don't like the hiatus part.
I don't think we can afford to put all of that on a shirt. Too many letters. So you were hiatus, you were missing. So we were at RX1 this weekend. You were not there. You were missed.
Yeah. Trying not to race when I have niggles.
And how is the niggle coming along?
It's coming along fine now. Yeah. I just can't race too often right now as I'm coming back into things. So I'm just kind of spreading them out a little bit, which is fine. But I definitely had FOMO this weekend with RX1 and you guys all racing.
Do you know so I mean, we're going to talk a lot about RX1 in a minute, and we have a guest later on too. So but just because you brought something up, we all race too much.
People in OCR and hybrid racing tend to race a lot.
Yeah, like if you're coaching a client, they're like, how many races should I do this year? And let's just say they have 2A races, right? Which a lot of people do. A lot of people say they have more, but let's just say 2A races, which is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
How many other times should they race?
It's tough to say too when if you're talking like racing and going to the well, like once every 4 or 5 weeks would be like the most, I would really say, for most people. Sometimes people are younger and they recover a lot faster. It can be a little bit different, but when we're talking a season that's 11 months long, you can't really race every weekend. Like, I mean, you can, but unless you're willing to train through them. So that's kind of the difference. Like, I don't know how some people who race every weekend, like typically I have taper periods, so they must just train through them. So if you're racing, some people do their races as they're training and they train through them, then that's a bit different. So it just kind of depends on how you approach the race itself. But going to the well, which is completely depleting yourself and like giving it 110%, probably 4 or 5 weeks would be the most that I would really recommend racing.
Unless you're Chris Rudowski, and then every weekend.
Insane. 700 milers in a year. I can't even fathom how she recovers from that.
It's not right.
I don't know. She's another one of these superhuman athletes who just has this remarkable ability to recover.
I wonder too, like with her, because she's one of those ones who only found fitness like 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, she posted that she only started running a few years ago.
Yeah, so maybe just like her body hasn't taken, like obviously she has a natural aptitude.
Yeah.
Maybe her body hasn't taken that beating.
It could be. Like when you look at someone like myself, I've been training running at a high level since I was 14. So the amount of pounding in years on my body, I couldn't even fathom doing what she's doing. I would just break down. But the general wear and tear on my body is, we're talking 20 years of high level, and there were sections of time when it was an insane amount of volume. So it could be because she's new. She obviously has really incredible mechanics. Things aren't really breaking down. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how she gets through the year here with that type of racing schedule.
I'm sure like eventually she'll slow down. One of two things will give out. Either her body will start to give out a bit with a little more age, or her fire will. And
like just general burnout.
Yeah. And then
even mentally.
I mean, I remember I used to play so much hockey. I loved it. I was a goalie. I would play 4 or 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
And it went on for years, right? Like, I don't know, maybe 5 years. And then eventually it just ground to a halt. And I was just like, I don't even want to answer the phone. I don't want to go to the rink. I complete burnout on it. And hopefully
But at
she
least
did.
with sports, they have a season and then they end.
Yeah.
But you could race year round in what we do.
Yeah, and maybe yes, it's very different races she's doing. She's doing high rock, she's doing 100 milers, she's doing Spartans, she's doing, I don't know, sprints across the kitchen floor. I have no idea, but she's racing very different stuff very often, and maybe that's why she's able to do it. And
She's racing them all too. Like, I wouldn't say that she holds back in anything.
she says she only races at like 80% or 85%. She never goes all out, and that might be something that helps her.
Maybe that's why.
But on that same token, a Chris that is going 95% would be freaking scary. And I think we saw that at High Rocks. I think that was her pushing harder than she'd ever pushed before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, yeah. So, like we said, RX1 was this weekend.
Yeah.
Out this time, not quite all the way to Montreal, halfway between Montreal and Ottawa, as it was so they have series. They have a Montreal series, they have an Ottawa series. This was a race that affected both. It was kind of a joint race. So that was kind of cool. And it was good. It was good fun, good weather, everything. They had a cowboy thing. I didn't really buy into that myself, the cowboy thing, but they worked hard and they did a good job. They, I can't find fault with any of it. If you didn't like country music, maybe it wasn't your favorite music for racing too, but to be honest, it was very upbeat. It was always upbeat.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice at all while I was racing. So
yeah, you don't really hear it when you're racing.
It was just tuned out. So it's obviously much more for the people watching. Basic course layout. And I liked this course. So it was a little kind of maybe 100-meter run at the start that went around some barrels. And every time, every wave, my wave included, we were all a bit lost. Just like, what? All right, we get there. But we got there anyway. 100 meters to the rowing machine. For the experts was, because I can't remember everybody else, but for us so it's likely was either between 1,000 to 1,500 meter road, depending on the division. After that was a 2K run, probably 70% of it easy trail and 30% on the road. And then you got to a really, really long burpee broad jump.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to guess about 150 meters.
Oh, wow.
And from there, they did a heavy dead ball clean walk. So you hold the dead ball over your head, walk about, I would say 10 meters, drop it, reclean it, 10 meters, drop it, reclean it, and then come back about the same thing again, about 150 meters. And then following that was roughly a 100-meter tire flip, tires weighing, I'm going to guess about 250 pounds, somewhere that for the level I was doing. So it was either around 250 or around the regular transport tire, which is about 110, 120 at most. But distance was there. And then back off on another 2K run. So you took that same loop and just ran back through it. Mm-hmm. Through there to a sled drag, which was probably about 2 lengths of 25 meters, so 50 meters total. Something about that later on. Into what RX1 seems to finish often with, and then that's like a barbell complex, and it was a doozy. But it was a good one. It was 6 deadlifts, 6 cleans, 6 squats, front squats, 6 push to press overhead, and 6 push-ups, 5 sets of that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was pretty exhausting. Now, and after that, again, there was maybe a little bit 100-meter sprint after that to get to the finish line, which was, if you're in a tight race, that was an exciting part.
It's exciting, yeah.
But yeah, so for me, it was going really, really well. Like, I came out good. I did my row nice and calm and relaxed, and came off the row kind of tied for first, maybe a bit in second, somewhere around there in my division. Went off on the run. Frederick, a little bit of a better runner than me. He pulled away. By the time we got to burpee broad jumps, I'd say he was ahead by 25, 30 seconds, somewhere in that neck of the woods. I know when I started my burpees, he was about a quarter of the way across the field. By the time we finished the burpees, we were side by side. So I caught up that much on the burpees. The dead balls we did side by side.
That's exciting.
So came off there into the tire flip, and I pulled away on the tire flip. which is nice because, and I posted last time on the tire flip I did at RX1 was the time I didn't eat. 2 flips in, I was ready to pass out and die. It was the worst I've ever felt in a race. It was just horrible, and I was ready to mail it in. I'm like, I can't go anymore. This one, 2 flips, and I mentally noted it. I'm like, I feel freaking fantastic. So I flipped them all, come back, and I pulled, I'm going to say 10, 15 second lead out of there. We ran back, and he caught up probably, I'm going to say 500 meters, maybe 750 into the run back. And we're going down a little hill. We were actually running side by side for a bit, just, we weren't racing, we were pacing, right? Mm-hmm. And then went down a hill, and I felt a little clink in one knee, and I'm like, all right, I know eventually he's going to pull away from me on this. So I'm just going to back off a little bit, because that one scared me a little bit. Nothing bad happened. I'm okay. But I'm like, that was a little scary. I'm just going to back off and not push it and save it for where I'm going to need it. And he pulled away good from there. And that was really, he got out of sight. And I think when he saw I backed off, I think maybe he put the hammer down a bit. So yeah, that was gone. But originally my goal in this place was not to win anyway, because I knew he especially, this is more his game than me. I'm still new to this particular thing. There was the guy in third that I was focused on, Benoit Brisset, nice guy. He's a CrossFit coach, and he's really good on the barbells. He's the guy that passed me at the end in the last race. Mm-hmm. And so big lead on him, doing really well. Cruising along, get to the sled pull. He is nowhere in sight. I have no idea where he is. And pull the sled once, pull the sled twice. And by this time he has come in, and I said to volunteer, because I didn't ask before or ask anybody how many times I'm supposed to pull the sled. Right. And so I kind of looked at the volunteer. I said, what do we do? She said something in French. And like, oh, I don't speak French. Can you in English? And she said, take it back, take it back. So I went back, pulled the rope back across, pulled the sled back again. And I thought I was done. And then the other volunteer on that side said, no, you got to go back the other way. And I'm like, there's no way. I've seen other people here. Nobody's done this much. Yeah. And I said, no, I said, they've gone. That can't be right. She's like, you got to do it twice. I'm like, I've done it 3 times. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, 3 times. And then so she turns to the referee and she talks to the main referee. This whole process takes about another 30 seconds. She turns back to me. She's like, go, 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 go. I'm like, so I get to the bar. So I lost probably a minute to a minute and a half of the lead I had built. And got to the barbell column flax, of course. So on the last round, he passed me right near the end of the last round and so he got second again and I got there. But in my mind, I know that I had accomplished what I do. I did the race plan I wanted to set out and had more in me as well. So I just, and still barbell skills are improving, getting better by leaps and bounds, but still ways to go. And I do know that I have it in me to definitely, beat Benoit. I could very also be beat by Benoit, but I have it in me to beat him. And I look forward to racing him again. He's a really good guy and really enjoy a little back and forth. It's definitely where strengths are, 2 opposing strengths, and that's good. And eventually I'm going to catch that Frederick guy too.
Yeah. I think, and this speaks to sometimes with these hybrid races, one of the hardest parts is knowing what to do next and your reps and how far, and because that's kind of the confusing thing. And I mean, when I did high rocks, I messed up the order, and this the layout was funny, but you kind of get in the zone and you're just pushing, and you kind of lose focus on what you're doing. And sometimes with these races, that's part of the battle. But RX1, because the race changes all the time, you have to be even more in tune to what's going on.
And the thing is, like, when I talk to some people, and I don't want anyone, especially RX1 and the volunteers, I am not blaming those volunteers. This is totally on me, because I didn't ask beforehand, before the race started. I didn't ask, I didn't research, I didn't pay enough attention as to how many times that should be done. I should have known that.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, ultimately, the onus is always on the athlete.
Yeah, totally. Well, there's times, like, I mean, for example, back at High Rocks, when Hunter and Kent had done one too few laps on, I think it was their burpee broad jumps, and the judge told them to go. So, I mean, in that case, I don't blame them because they were specifically told go. And they don't know in that case how far the measurement is, right? They don't know how, so some cases.
Or they could have found it out before and figured out.
Possibly. But it's a difficult argument to have when the judge says, go, you're done.
Right.
Say, no,
and again,
not.
you're in race mind. And like it's so easy to miscount things too. Even if you knew you were supposed to do 4 and they said go and you had done 3, I've just been like, well, maybe I did do 4. I don't know.
I have no idea. Yeah. And I mean, we see all the time. So, but yeah, this particular one was on me for not being prepared properly and for just, not paying enough attention. And yeah, there was a language barrier, true. But again, if I had prepared properly, it wouldn't have been an issue whatsoever. So volunteers and RX1, totally on me, not on you. And I will make that mistake again.
So how long did this one take you? Total time?
1 hour and 8 seconds.
Okay. So like kind of in the range of last one, just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think most of them you're going to be in that. I mean, some will be a little bit longer. The finale last time was a little bit longer, but I think most of them you're going to be between that, let's say on average between 45 to an hour and 10. And again, depending on your level, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, some people are going to be 2 hours. Some people might be 35. I didn't see any of that, but
yeah.
The one that you went to, though, there was some people who cracked 40, right?
Yeah.
And depending, like I know, like in the intermediate, for example, if I had run intermediate, I probably could have been, maybe 50-ish or I don't know, 50-ish, but 52, something along that lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Weights were much lighter and stuff like that. And definitely the sled was our sled. Like you could see our guys, we were struggling hard. It was a heavy sled. And then the intermediate guys, they were like, wow, just flying with it. So there's a big difference on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do believe, and this is something that will change in my training, is what I need to do, because like I said, the barbell stuff is work on, but what I need to do is the barbell complexes and stuff, fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing to be able to go out there and crank out, the 5 sets or whatever, when you're fresh and when you've rested and all that stuff. But it's another one after you've been pushing for 40 minutes to come out and try to crank out that same thing, even on a lightweight. So that's something that has to change. I mean, I've been still need to work on your technique and your form and everything slowly and properly, but you also have to practice it in that fatigue manner. So that's something that I have to add for me and get that going more often.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, because that's 2 races now where there's been a barbell complex right before the finish line.
And even, there's always, they seem to set it up that predominantly you're going to have the run is either going to be right at the beginning or spread throughout the middle. I've never seen one where the run is at the end. And it just seems like at the end, whether it's a barbell complex, which has been 2 in a row that I've seen that, or even last year at the finals, there was still a barbell involved near the end, and it was just very much a functional fitness finish. So it seems that's the way they like to finish, and it's cool. I enjoy it. That's good. It just shows that you need to be able to maybe do some simulations where you're giving it your all, getting tired on a run, doing some aggressive cardio, and then going into some heavy like Metcon lift. Yeah. So that will be on the agenda, and by luck and happenstance, I enjoy that. What else do we have? Oh, and of course, road trips are still the way to go. Had a great time on the road trip. Mm-hmm. Stayed at a nice campground. John and Sue, how you doing? Great campground, which was 3 minutes from the venue. Wow. I mean, we actually took it. It was 1 kilometer. You could have just walked it, or done your warm up run there. Yeah. But we didn't. We drove and paid $20 for VIP parking because that's a goal. It's nice to have a station car. Yeah. Something to put all your gear in and stuff. And we did have the dog too, so that I don't know how that affected it. Yeah, it was another good RX1 race and another podium finish, which is great. I'm gonna keep it up. Just
Yeah,
wasn't the one I wanted.
not the right color yet.
I believe I won rose gold because the medals I think look rose gold. So they're like gold, pewter, and rose gold. Those are the positions. So, you know what? What's next for you here? I'm thinking
Mount Tremblant.
Tremblant, and you're ready to go, and you're gonna be there.
Yes, for sure.
If
I'm
you
excited to run on that mountain.
I haven't been there in a long time.
Yeah, me neither. And the last time I was there was the dead of winter.
Oh, for skiing?
Yeah, I was skiing. Yeah.
That should be good. I think it's going to be like judging from what they did with Calabogie, which they did a great job on. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
like one of the most beautiful races they've ever set up.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm hoping for a strong field turnout. I'd like to see a really good competition. And anytime you're in Quebec, you know you're going to get some people you never heard of show up that are absolute beasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just crush it. So it'll be good, great to see. And that's coming up very soon. When it's that 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a beast on the Saturday. So
That's a long one. And it'll be a lot of elevation too.
Yeah, I'm expecting a long race this time. I'm still remembering and having some flashbacks, PTSD to Owl's Head, which was the longest super I've ever done. We were 2 hours and 35 minutes for 14K, and that was the podium girls. And yeah, so Mount Tremblant is a big mountain too. So putting a beast on a big mountain, I'm expecting a long race.
Awesome. Well, I think now we got to get to our guest, and we do this. I'll give you a little intro here. That we have with us from Deca fame, Spartan fame, Yancy Culp. Lots been going on, and he's got a lot he wants to talk about and clear the air. So, without further ado, Yancy Culp.
What's up, you rock stars?
Look.
I like it. Where did you remind me where you earned your mark, brother?
That would be Horse's Head or horse head.
Journey.
New Journey, yeah, 333.
333. Man, I just launched an 6-minute video that they put together from their recent event.
Yeah, they did a mile, and we couldn't make it to the mile because we had another race that same day. So, and we'll get down to the mile. I think there's one going on. Oh my God, it's somewhere in Nashville, I think. And that'll be in like September, I think.
So that was a strong, or your shirt's from a strong?
Strong, yeah.
Refresh my memory, brother. What was your time?
Wasn't as good as I wanted. It was a 15:52. I wanted to be sub 15, but you know what got me was the tank. I had never used one before. Okay, so going there, I had never used a Ram before. I had never used a Skierd before, and I'd never touched one of those tanks before. So
I know from experience, if you go sub 16 as a male,
yeah,
first time, for the very specific reasons you say, you can't do that without being very fit. It's just you find yourself getting a little more efficient with a few of the zones.
Yeah, especially like I said, I mean, the one thing I killed the bike. I did really well on the bike, and I have one at home, so I practice on it, right? But yeah, that tank thing, I didn't push hard enough. You know, like I don't know. It's a different feel. And
it's a unique piece of equipment to get used to. The harder you push, obviously the faster it'll go, but you're going to spike anaerobic, and you could take, I mean, Hunter McIntyre and Ryan Kent, they can't run with that sled.
No.
You can push fast with it. It's one of those things where it's, okay, is it worth buying 20 seconds? How am I going to do, with Deca Strong, when you know that all you have is the burpees, maybe you dive in and attack and go buy that 20 seconds. Deca Fit, how much is that going to hurt that last 500-meter run? Yeah. And are you going to lose it on the 500-meter run on the burpees? So it's kind of a balancing act.
And I've said to people, what it is like, you'll put in 50% more effort and you will get 20% more result.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to kind of gauge that thing. And I was piss poor at gauging that level. So I ended up just going too slow. And yeah, like it was crazy. But where I say like the bike was actually my fastest of
That's
the
impressive. It
cardio
makes sense
stuff,
that you have a
right?
bike at home.
Yeah. So
People
I mean,
that do not have a bike at home, that bike kicks their ass.
yeah, like I was faster on the bike than I was on the ski erg or on the roller, which.
So have you competed yet, Bethany?
Not yet. I'm July 30th in Chicago.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh, that's right. And we're going to do teams as well, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do a doubles.
I'm going to be totally honest with you here. I have an event that weekend that had been on the calendar for more than an hour, and it was going to be the only Deka'Fit that I missed this year. And I'm not going to say it's not the only reason, but the fact that you guys were coming, I literally changed my schedule. I'm going to fly into Chicago Saturday morning at 2 a.m. and I will leave Saturday night at about 8 or 9 p.m. So I will be there for the entire Deka'Fit because I knew there were going to be a lot of people that just never stepped in the arena before, and I knew you were going to be going fast. And
I'm bringing in my childhood friend to do doubles with me.
So stinking fun. I'm telling you, there's
So
a million different strategies, and
yeah.
we've seen them all. It is so, be prepared. Every single high level elite says this. I'm not exaggerating. The moment they finish, like, oh my gosh, that was twice as hard as the individual race, because it's like this zone 5 red line roller coaster ride where you're just, over and over and over again, you're going as hard as you can go. And then you get this little short break, and then you're dropping the hammer again. They lay there for 5 minutes, completely wrecked after teams. And you don't see that after individual, they're wrecked, but you just don't see it quite as bad as after teams. So
are you finding most people with the teams, are they splitting, like someone does the stations and someone does the running?
It really truly depends on your team strategy. Like, let's say Dave and let's say I pick, I got Matt Frazier as my teammate. I'm going to do all the running and let him do most of the zones. We have to do that or let's say you had like Matt Centrowitz, the dream team, Matt Centrowitz and Rich Froning, something like that.
Yeah.
Rich Froning and Centrowitz do the first 500-meter run together. And then Froning tackles all the zones while Centrowitz tackles all the runs. And then they do the last 500 together. The record time for men is Derek York and Victor Quesada. Those are two pretty similar, well-balanced athletes. They divided everything. And I've seen enough teams do it both ways to think it's literally a coin toss. Let's say Alex Walker and Chris Roglowski went together. They would split it up 50-50. If Faye Stenning and some badass CrossFit athlete went together, they would kind of do it like Centrowitz and Froning would do. But the fact that you have that first and last 500, they have to do it together, it definitely throws a little bit of strategy. You'll see some real cool strategy that we see, and I'll give you a little pro tip here. You want your best runner. Like, let's say you're going to divide up the tank. You take the first 50 and then your partner takes the last 250. You want the best runner to take the last 250 or the last 400 meters, because they're going to be gassed, but they're the best runner. So that run will be evenly paced. That, the other runner can go really hard and probably keep up with you going as hard as you can go, because you're going to be more gassed. They're learning little strategies like that. There's little nooks and crannies everywhere to work the strategy. Like zone 6, you're talking about, the person is tackling zone 6 fresh. So they're dropping like a 40-second farmer's carry. Your rest is over like that as the runner. So if you're going to run, if you came in and then the farmer's carry person does it all by themselves, if you're planning on doing the next run, those two 500s that book in that 600 zone 6 are tough. 40 seconds is not very long, but it's been fun to watch. And it's so, put this into perspective. Ryan Kent has the world record about 29:32. Victor and Derek did it in 26. So just think how fast that looks visually. And the girls have gone, Bridget and Alex hold the record for females, and they went like 29. They're going faster than Ryan Kent is going. So it's just stupid fast and fun to watch. And there's something about seeing those relay handoffs. It just takes you back to a high school sprint relay or mile relay, which is kind of cool.
So that's the time I'm going for, 29? for the doubles.
Bridget and Alex hold the record at 29. Johnny Mares and Chris Roglowski hold the co-ed record at 29 also, I think a little faster than the female time. And then Victor and Derek hold the male record.
All right. Yeah, Yancy, I got a Canadian beer versus an American beer on Bethany and her partner beating that 29.
So give me a little background on your partner, a little fitness background here.
So Lanny Marchant went to the 2016 Olympics in both the marathon and the 10,000.
Oh,
This
is awesome.
He won the OCR Stars Mile on a training run.
Okay. So
there's a 10K PB of 31:46.
And you're kind of like a Derek and Victor type, Alex Chris type athlete, well-rounded. So my gut tells me that you're probably going to lean towards letting her handle a little more of the running.
Yep.
You divide a couple of those 500 meters up strategically where she takes a lap, you take a lap. Maybe you're 70% zone work.
Yeah.
She might take a little bit of it because she's fresh. You guys could, that's going to be fun to watch. Fun to watch. It's not like she's going to be bad in most of the zones. She may not be as good as you in the zones.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
train together often when she comes into town, and she jumps into my workouts too, and she has a lot of fun with it. But yeah, her running, she's still at a very high level right now.
And that's that makes somebody like that when they're doing repeats fresh. I'll use Ryan Hauerholzer did it with her husband in NorCal. Ryan was a world-class 400-meter hurdler in Kansas State. I mean, she was amazing. Her husband, amazing athlete. He just wasn't at her type level. Watching her run those 500-meter repeats, or in some cases 250, and then handing off fresh was like, it's like out of this world when you see a world-class athlete like your partner runner running when they're fresh at those short of distances. Not that a 250 or 500 is short, but it's insanely fast, especially on concrete where you're not losing any energy. It's like gazelles in the Deca arena when you're watching that. So it's going to be fun.
I'm glad you're going to be there.
I'm going to live stream that one on Instagram. I will follow them through the whole thing. And as well with Yancy's okay, I will be.
It's done.
Instagram.
Yeah, I know a guy.
Pro men and women. So.
You're good.
Yeah. We're going to get that all live, which will be really nice because we can watch it all firsthand.
Awesome.
All right. Before we move on to some other stuff, Yancy, let's take care of the ugly shit.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've had some stuff go on recently. There was a complaint online that one of the affiliates and maybe some other affiliates were not paid their race entry fees at that 30-day marker. And I'll just let you go from there and just explain the situation and what's happening. Yeah,
the exact thing that they're specifically talking about is what we call a rev share. When we built Deca, crazy as everybody thought we were, we built the whole thing during COVID, when most people were just trying to keep their lights on, and we wanted to build the affiliate program in a way to where we were really able to give back to the affiliates. So as you guys and gals know, we've had 400 plus events inside brick and mortar facilities that we call bolt us on as an affiliate, and that allows them to put on Deca Strong, Deca Miles, Deca Strong, Deca Mile teams, and participate in our challenges and our Deca training system and all this stuff. And they pay us a $129 affiliate fee. And when they stand up in an event, like what the conversation was like on ORM, let's say I'll paint some easy numbers so it makes for super simple math. Let's say you guys have an event, you guys have bolted this on, you have an event at your gym and 100 people come. Most gyms charge $39 a pop. That's kind of the standard. You can charge a little more. Sometimes upper middle class neighborhoods will charge a little more. It's normally $39. So on that day, we're gonna generate gross revenue of $3,900. So what we do, that gym 2 or 3 months prior, maybe a month and a half, 2 months prior, they said, hey, we want the event on this day. We stand up the online registration, the online check-in, provide marketing assets, and we'll send out t-shirts and medals and the trifecta wedges and all that stuff. And then on game day, they have their Spartan Deca event. And then what we try really hard to do, and this is where we failed a few times, is within 30 days, we cut them that check for 75%. And when you look at it on paper, it's like, man, 75%. Yeah. We basically created it to where we were going to try to make just enough to kind of cover all the stuff we do and the shipping and the metals and the t-shirts and the wedges. You want to make sure you're at least barely covering your cost. And then we give them 75%. So in this case, rough math off the top of my head, that I think $29.50. So almost $3,000. We cut them a check. So we've had 400 events. We've paid out probably $800,000 plus dollars. And that's a conservative number, probably closer to $1 million, because the Deca miles, they normally charge 49. And we're normally on time, but you know what, the way I like to look at it is it could be a relationship. It could be at business, at work, or whatever you do in life. You could do 500 things good. When you screw up, and you deserve, if you get called out on it, and even if you get freaking thrown out to, to dry in the back pasture and get taken behind the woodshed and beat up a little bit. Hey, that's what you get. It doesn't matter. You can't sit there and say, well, we've done all this great stuff. We screwed up. There have been times when we have not met that 30-day mark. So really and truly, we love what we're doing and what we've been able to provide to approximately 160 affiliates now, and we're growing every week. But man, we've stumbled and fallen flat on our face before. There's been times because of shipping nightmares. I don't even want to. You guys can only imagine where imagine having 14. We had 14 events last weekend, and it was shipping. You thought everything. You thought your Deca Strong, Deca Mile shirts and wedges and medals were going to get here in May, and they get here in some cases 1 week prior, and then you're overnighting stuff to where those 14 events have their stuff. There's even been a few cases where we had to go back, and we're still playing catch up in a few cases where we had to mail out to those 100 people their t-shirts, medals, and wedges. So it's been tough with COVID and the shipping issues, and just trying to turn the lights back on with Spartan. There's been plenty of times where we've fallen flat on our face. And in this case, yeah, it's 30 days and they've not gotten their check. And really and truly, like I said, we have so much support from our affiliates. But when one of them gets upset because they haven't been paid in 30 days, and that's what we say we want to do, listen, we got to own up to that. And there's been several times when that's exactly what's happened. And I think the way I explained it the other day on social was like, you know what? I say all the time, we were maniacally focused on creating Deca to where it's truly your brand. We try to give you so much freedom to do anything you want to with it. And man, it's been amazing watching what some of the affiliates have, the cool stuff they've done with it. So you're on our team and we're on your team. We're on a team together. And when we fail you, we've failed the freaking team. It's like I didn't get the block. If everybody gets their block, the run goes for a touchdown. We freaking missed our block, and the running back got effing depleted. And that's what it was. Bad teammate, and they are on our team. And I love what we've been able to do as a team, but we freaking screw up sometimes. In this case, we flat out screwed up. And we still have a handful, probably 4 or 5 right now that we're getting caught up on. Probably right now, we're probably on a pay cycle. It's like 5 to 6 weeks. So we're going to have another week or 2 where we have a few more. And so it's about as straight as I can put it out there, brother.
And does this kind of come down to like, and in a way, I've mentioned this before. I thought Spartan as an entity in general, so that be including Deca, and this is something that you do that I've not seen them do before, is they should have been very upfront and honest right after COVID, saying, hey, we're rebounding, be patient, wait, some things are going to take a while, some things are going to be different. They got hit as hard as everybody knows, like, we all got hit by it. People had to stay home. Everybody's cash flow was short. And you knew with Spartan having to give out, free registrations for races that were canceled, all this stuff, that means that was money in 2022 and 2021 that wasn't going to be coming in.
Yeah.
So, and that was my critique of them, was that they didn't come out and say, hey, listen, this is going to be a hard year for us. This is going to be rough. Stick with us, hold tight. And here's how it's going to be. We heard the controversy with the paying athletes. This has come up. And now what I do like to see is that you have come out publicly, which is really ballsy to do and not easy in the least, and said, hey, we fucked up. We dropped the ball. We're going to do our best to make it right. And that was my one critique. And I'm glad to see that you're in front of it, that you're showing a willingness to work with everybody and trying to be upfront and honest. And I think the one question, like, I mean, some people would ask why, and I think I've answered why, but is that what's happened likely?
I'm going to be as transparent as possible. And the one positive, there's a lot of positives, but one positive that I really like is almost to a fault. Joe will be as transparent as he can possibly be, and almost too transparent sometimes. And no, there really is no such thing. 100% transparency is where we should always be. And I'm gonna paint the picture, because I have, the opportunity to kind of know how it looked behind the scenes. I was in Orlando, stayed at Joe's place a couple nights, and we were at dinner, and he said, the one thing that was unique that I just don't think we really thought about, you couldn't quite gauge the true impact of it. He said, Yancy, if COVID would have hit this hard in 2011, and coming out of it, I needed to turn on 7 races, piece of freaking cake. And when you look at the analytics of that, give or take 4,000 to 5,000 people at a race, you're at a break-even point. 2018-19, we know there's a lot of races where 8,000 plus would be there on a weekend, even a Saturday. In some cases, the weekend, you're gonna have 8,000 plus. So then you turn now you're looking at 2022, and you're like, we got to turn on 70 races. And during COVID, for the almost 2 years, just to be able to keep the lights on, approximately 75% of the people were on a furlough, and rightfully so. Just like the three of us, if we're on furlough, we're going to go try to find something. And then you, bam, snap the fingers. Let's try to turn the races back on. And now you can't just say, hey, snap our fingers again, all 75%, come back today. Departments were, and I don't want to sugarcoat it all. It's like departments were in disarray. And that's really and truly a good word for it. Like in good people, really good people trying to keep, departments semi-floating, and you're turning everything on. And and now you're like, well, the races are turned back on, but you look at, we still got 20% of people wearing masks. Heck, I was up in Chicago, and hell, half the city was in masks still. And just people, there's a percentage of the country, if it's US or Canada, is like, I'm not into the crowds yet. So 4,500 people are coming to the race. It looks like a lot to face value, but us three know that, man, that's a big difference from 8,000 as far as revenue. So you have 5 or 10 of your races are breaking even, and you're trying to get your staff built back up to where it's manageable. I may even get whipped a little bit tomorrow, beat up a little bit, or whenever this comes out, but it's a bloody freaking miracle. And I will say this right now, 9 out of 10 people, love or hate Joe, 9 out of 10 people that would have been in his position, the lights would still not be on. No way. I'm telling you right now, wouldn't exist. It was 2 years of brutal. And at the end of the day, not kissing ass here, I'm just being factual. At the end of the day, the man just wants to serve freaking people that need to be served with fitness. And if it was just him, he'd give freaking everything away. If he could, he'd give everything away. But most people couldn't have kept the lights on. Wouldn't have been, it was his 2-year death race. It was his 2-year death race to keep the lights on. And, we're in a lot better place today than we were 4 or 6 months ago. We're in a lot better place than we were a month ago, but it's still tough. And getting it, sometimes you're like, well, why wasn't this being done or that being done? Is like, dude, there wasn't a department to get it done. Yeah. And it's like, where do we, like 17 things need to happen with this $1. What do we do with it? Now, what we, the tightrope we try to walk with Deca is trying to be as independent as possible with as much as we possibly could, as we were trying to build our little brand and our tiny department. Like we're like 6 people total. The whole freaking brand is 6 people. And we've had our obstacles we had to get over there. So, but as we got a little bigger, trying to become more and more independent so we could truly manage that, like, everything's going into one account. And it's like, you literally have to kind of get it all, everything educated on the fact that, hey, this entity is a little different. This is an affiliate over here. We're going to put them at one tier higher than this other vendor. Sometimes it's like, you got to try to create a few tiers to say, they're paying us and let's try to manage this. I know we say 30 days. Let's look at 30 days as total failure. Let's try to get down to like 2 to 3 weeks. And then we can really, so man, it's a lot to juggle, and we've fallen flat on our face many times, but you know what, at the end of the day, every time I step into an event and what our affiliates have done, when you look at, when you say we've done well over 400 events and tens of thousands of people have been tested and 99% of people find the finish line, 99% of those people have found the finish lines inside brick and mortar gyms, club studios, and boxes. We've had 6, 7, 8 DecaFits, 500 to 1,000 people each one of those. That's peanuts compared to, like, we just had 14 events, 50 to 120 people come to every one of those. It's magic what's happened. So I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish. But again, I always tell our staff, and they're amazing. You have to, in all walks of life, if you're in any type of management role or leadership role, you never expect people to take their shoes off and put yours on, but you must be able to put their shoes on and see things exactly how they see them. That's an independent business. And some of them, some put on an event and they just lean in on everything we provide, but some will hire a DJ. They don't look at it as revenue that they're going to mailbox money. They look at it as, man, we're going to get a check for $29.50. Let's take half of that and do some cool stuff with it. And then they get their check for $29.50, and now they're in the clear. So when that check doesn't get there in 30 days, man, I get it. I put their shoes on, and that's why it crushes me. And we're push to make it happen. And you're on the phone with A&P all the time because I understand what they're dealing with. They are putting on amazing events. We make them look good, and at the same time, they make us look really good, and we become that strong team. And we've just failed them sometimes.
That's the long and the short of it. The one question that, so then would lead people to have so as a brand, as a race, Deca is still healthy and growing, and we can look forward to more of them in the future.
Absolutely, man. We are, when I say Spartan as a whole and Deca as a whole, we look better than we did a month ago, where we are now, where we're best position we've been in, and way better than we were 6 months ago. Man, it is, I can tell you that we add new affiliates every single week. Every 2 weeks, we have an onboarding call, where we might have anywhere from, we're averaging about 14 to 15 new affiliates every month consistently. And that used to be like 5, 6, 7. We are, there's 19,000 towns, small towns / small cities in the United States of America that are 15,000 people or under. We're starting to see those, in major markets, we got a lot of affiliates. I mean, there's 40 in the Northeast. Big cities, there's 3, 4, 5 plus, 10 plus. In certain cases, we're really starting to see traction in those. And I know Canada's the same way. You look out in suburbia and you get out further than suburbia, there's all these little small towns, and they normally have 1, maybe 2 gyms in there. And when that gym, like little Yoakum, Texas, or Tracy, California, has an affiliate, in Austin, every weekend, there's 27 things for me to decide what I want to do. When Yoakum, Texas has a Deca, that's the only thing there is to do. And that's like the gym is packed, and 80 of their affiliate members come and 20 non-members come, and it's a celebration. And so we're seeing some fun traction there. And Deca's on solid ground. And I'm, to drive that point home, we just had a big meeting on our 2023. You start looking at your map to plan out 2023, how many DecaFits you're going to have. We'll probably have 400 and something Deca Strong and Deca Miles alone this year. And you look at give or take 3 to 4. So we're going to be somewhere this time next year in between 300 to 500 affiliates with the same type of scaling. Each gym has anywhere from 3 to 4 events a year. You do the math, that's over 1,000 Deca Strong and Deca Miles. For every 1 Deca Mile, we have 3 Deca Strongs. That's kind of how things trend. Now we're getting ready to officially launch Deca Strong team and Deca Mile team leaderboards, where let's say your gym stands up an event, first 3 or 4 hours is Deca Strong or Deca Mile individual. And then you're able to come like you and Bethany are tackling Deca Strong as a team or Deca Mile as a team, where it's an official leaderboard, just like those current leaderboards, not some leaderboard we stand up for 1 week or 1 month. It's a long-term leaderboard that will live on and live on forever. So a lot of really cool things. We try to be careful about launching too much new stuff and try to get really good at what we do. And and to be honest, when you're taking more than 30 days sometimes, or you're messing up on getting their t-shirts and medals and all that stuff, you're not, you got to be careful. Don't launch too much stuff to where your little team of 6 or 7 gets overwhelmed and it pulls away from the things you got to be maniacally focused on to be good at. But we are, man, we're continuing to scale. Just really being transparent on the financials. We're just 2 years old and we are almost to a point. And if you know business, this is almost impossible. We're almost to a point where we are completely flush and we're now profitable. We're not quite there yet, but to be there in less than 2 years, we're extremely, extremely happy with that.
So you're saying as a team Deca Mile are strong. So would that be the same kind of like relay deal, or is that like
yeah? So let's say it's you and Bethany, or you and I, and it's simple Deca Strong, same reps, meters, cows. We divide and conquer those reps, meters, and cows however we want to do it. Deca Mile, we might divvy up the 160 meter runs. Again, kind of depending on what type of partner you have. So it just makes for a crazy, fast and furious spectator experience and athlete experience at those events. And what happens is it allows, we built Deca Strong to become the most recognized global full body functional fitness test for all levels in the same arena on the same day using the exact same standards, most recognized fitness test. That's what we hope to accomplish in about 5 years, to where like, it's not what's your 40 time, bro, what's your bench max, what's your mile time, what's your marathon time. It's like, what's your Deca Strong time? If somebody says that around the water cooler, everybody knows what they're talking about. It's like, Susie, you haven't tested yet? What are you talking about? There's like 37 events in our city last year. And we want to do that because it truly is. Our analytics show now that like 99.44% of people that step up the start line find the finish line. And we're talking about people that are not on a good journey. They're overweight, unfit, they're a hot mess sometimes. But guess what? They tested. So we want it to be that. And then Deca Mile is that little graduated version. But when you can 3 to 4 times a year lean in on that exact test and it never changes. When I'm 70 and you guys are much younger than me still, but you're older than you are now, it's like, wow, this thing's been around for 20 years and millions of people have tested. And it becomes that, like, wow, I remember 15 years ago when I first tested, I'm twice as fast now. Type thing. And people are talking, their friends coming in, and how it is when you find your first finish line. I'm speaking to the choir here, but your chances of having consistency with exercise adherence blows through the roof. We know it. Like if I don't keep something on the calendar 2 or 3 times a year, I'm going to lose my mind. But I get tested. But being able to go back to the exact same thing periodically, freaking game changer.
Yeah. I've always liked that concept. Like that benchmark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate you guys. It was funny. I'll be honest. I was hoping somebody would reach out. I wanted to my good friend, Brian Nunez, IDEA coach of the year, arguably one of the greatest coaches, trainers on the planet, Fit Pros. He calls it service media. And I've had a rule. I don't think I had this rule early on. I was just kind of floundering around with social media like everybody else, but I made it a rule that I was going to stay away from the comments unless I had to, like the ORM thing. Matt was very gracious to quickly reach out and say, would you like to put together a reply? It's like, absolutely, dude. I appreciate that. Some people just would post it and let a million comments come in, and I didn't get, so I appreciated that. It gave me a chance to kind of think through it and know that there was going to be a shit ton of comments coming through and going to get beat up a little bit. But I other than that, when I know there's something I need to pay attention to, I've learned you stay away from the comment section 100%. It's my golden rule. Unless if I'm going to post something or I'm going to comment on something, if it's not meant to serve somebody, I'm not going to do it. And I just know, like I was on a podcast here a long time ago and I said, I kind of look at, we've always had social media.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if you went to the coffee shop, there was just 12 of us sitting around with our white mugs and we were drinking coffee. We were doing social media, and, you know, we were a little more inclined to maybe be slightly more gracious with our responses and comments and things because we were right there. But I love the fact that it was this chance to be honest and be open with each other. We were the moment we kind of get, it's just me and one other friend, you know, you're inclined to start talking about the other 10 in a negative way. So my rules have always been if I'm going to say it on social media or I'm going to say it in person, or if I'm going to say it on social media, I should say, if it's not exactly how I would say it to that person, if they were right here in front of me enjoying a cup of coffee with me, then I shouldn't say it the way I'm about to say it on social media. That's kind of my way of keeping myself, you know, we call it winning the caring game. And if I can't win the caring game with what I'm about to share with you, and that's what Matt gave me the opportunity to do, that, to try to win the caring game and just really empathize for the several gyms that were, dude, I needed to take my shoes off and put theirs on and say, listen, don't, I get where they're coming from. We didn't get their freaking money to them in 30 days. And that's what we told them we try to do. And that's what we told them we were going to do, not try to do. We told them that's what we were going to do. So, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I'm really ensured that the crazy positive brain Yancy, glass is always half full Yancy, is like, I'm glad it happened because we were able to get some stuff out there. And I mean, heck, I'm able to tell people a little more about what we do. And we had so many people support us. And I know Jeff, you know, Jeff loves Deca. Jeff's the owner of Pinnacle. And I know he loves Deca. And I love that he's been able to stand Deca up and put on a lot of great events. And we always get everybody paid. Damn it. We just didn't get him freaking paid in time. And he's on the team, and he's been a great he's been a great affiliate. So we love Jeff, and we love Jeff, and anybody else that's had any complaints about us where we've screwed up. They've been warranted. And it won't be the last time we stumble, but you know, we as we get bigger, man, you get more and more, and you know, you're gonna get more things. There's and not even from the affiliates, just like we had sometimes people you don't even know. I had people in those comments saying they're running a Ponzi scheme. You know, you're just going to have stuff like that. You can't let that stuff. I mean, they legitimately said, you know, just, you need to freaking break out the lawyers. They're running a freaking Ponzi scheme over there. And you know what? I can't get upset with that. I think it's a little out in left field, but you're going to get that kind of stuff. I mean, look at the people that some people loved. They get to a certain level, and you're gonna find people that just all of a sudden hate you. You could walk up and give them $1 million, and they're gonna find a way to hate you. It just the way. And I'm not. Wait, I shouldn't even say that. I don't want people to think that I'm pointing the finger like Jeff like that. Jeff's feedback that he gave us on social media 100% deserved. I just mean some of those comments, man. People go bonkers on social sometimes. So my advice to the listeners, man, is if you're doing something and you get beat up a little bit, don't. Just stay away from the comments unless it's something you really need to address. But mainly, I mean, normally social media can be a beautiful thing, and I think most of us are just trying to get something accomplished with it. And you know what? Jeff was at his wit's end, and he decided to go to social media. So, listen, it's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah, I've often felt with the social media stuff very similar to yourself, right? Don't say anything on there that you don't want getting back to that person. It's eventually going to happen. But people make comments and they forget, and especially when it's to do with a popular person, a celebrity or whatever, that person really has a real life. They have maybe kids, they have family that read this, they have feelings and emotions. It really does hit people. And, you know, take a little care. You know, you can be honest without being a dick. You can be, you know, you can share a complaint, and I'm not saying that they did this. I'm speaking in general in other terms, but you can have a complaint and just come across legitimately and honestly, and just say this is the issue, and not go on attack. You do not have to attack.
Yeah,
some people don't get that.
100%. And you know what?
And some people just need an ass kicking because they're dicks.
Here's the deal. And I'm sure it's the same in Canada, and it's pretty much the same everywhere. Most of our politicians, from A to Z, I don't care which side you're on, most of them have an honesty problem, have a transparency problem, have an authenticity problem of just truly, when you like, take your shoes off and just wear the shoes of your public, and just literally try to serve them in a way where they're looking to you for leadership. You do not allow yourself to be swayed and pulled in a way that ever deters your ability and willingness to serve those people. And that means sometimes you got to be brutally honest and tell them exactly what happened. You screwed up. I really screwed this up, and we let you down. And we told you we were going to do this way. And we drove that home. We were cheering all about that. We loved that. And we failed you. That's what needs to happen. That's what, I mean, I don't have it all right. Hell, I don't even, but I'm going to give you that. And that's because that's, it's something that I know I always have, that I won't screw that up. I'll screw a lot of stuff up, but I'll at least give you that. And I wanted to, so that's why I appreciated Matt allowing us to get out in front of it. I appreciate you guys allowing us to have a voice, because I think it's important for people to know that, even people on our side, don't, I shouldn't say our side, but people that are like, I love the support that we got, but don't, nobody needs to be beat up because they called us out on the carpet. That's what they said we did. We did. We freaking did it. Yeah. And it's okay. And Jeff and I will, Jeff and I will probably toast a beer or two from now, and we finally get our shit together consistently. And I'm confident he's going to go on and continue to be a great affiliate, and we'll be a stronger team for everything that happened. But that's what when we say win the caring game at Deca, it's more than just providing a race for somebody that's not on a good fitness journey and loving on them in the arena. That's like 1% of winning the caring game. You're trying to win the caring game from A to Z, and all of us. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe we'll all be a little better from seeing how we kind of come together and get all this handled. We battle graciously, versus being a shit show, man. And we see enough of that. We see enough of that with leaders and companies and organizations and our politicians and all the hot mess that we see. And we're going to try to win the caring game from A to Z, my friend. So anyway.
So all that aside.
Yep.
Taken care of. What's coming now? We got Worlds coming up. We got more Deca Fits coming up. What's the big thing coming in the future here?
Dude, I am seeing the level of competition and people chasing those top 12 positions is freaking crazy. Matt Stankiewicz, who played, what a cool last name for a college and NFL football player. Matt Stankiewicz. Can you imagine the shit talking going on, those offensive line battles? He played for the Penn State Nittany Lions and then the New England Patriots and Jacksonville Jaguars, 315 pounds. Well, now he's 255 and looks like he's built like a brick shit house, dude. It's insane. Like picture Hunter McIntyre, 255. That's what you have. He drops I don't know if you saw the post that I made. The guy's training like a machine. He set the record for the 5K row, came into the arena at 255 pounds and dropped a low 12 very first time. Kevin Gregory dropped an 11:35 over the weekend, 4 seconds off of Ryan Corning's record. I could see the Deca Strong men's top 12 at World Championships having all 12 athletes in the burpee zone 10 at the exact same time. It's, I could see 6-7 people being sub 12 and the other 3, 4, 5 being 12, 15 or faster. You have some amazing females like Bridget Brown coming out of nowhere. Bridget Brown, Chris Roglowski, other athletes. Like I don't know if Faye's going to try to jump in. I will. Oh my gosh, I'm going to lean in on you guys. You get the breaking news. We have not announced this yet. I'm going to give it to you guys since you gave me the voice. Remember we had, for operational issues, we had to pull Providence.
Yes.
The Northeast. We are getting ready to stand up a Deca Fit at Iron Peaks. It's going to be we're not going to be able to support with the 2 trailers. So it's not going to have the glitz and the glamour and all the crazy branding, but it's going to be an official course marked off and officially timed just like we do, judged like we do in DecaFit. Just think athletic cones and a little more rudimentary DecaFit. But it will give the Northeast their opportunity that was taken away from them. We literally have 40 plus affiliates up there. So it's going to be Iron Peaks in New Jersey, right in between New York and Philadelphia. Man, I may get my butt kicked for releases, but you guys go ahead and release it. I'll beg for forgiveness later. We had our meeting today. It's going to be August 20th, which was the exact day that Rhode Island or Providence was going to be. And it will be, in between Chicago and West Palm. So the Northeast and some of you Canadians that want a shorter drive will have your opportunity. It will be on turf. We've found that turf's slightly slower. It doesn't beat the body up as bad, but you lose a little bit of energy. Everybody in Denver was a little slower than they were on concrete. It's the venue we were able to get though. But what are we drinking there? Look like, what is it?
Non-alcoholic.
Oh, all right. I was all of a sudden I was craving a beer. But yeah. So the Northeast will get their DecaFit. We're working on the we're 99% there to be able to officially announce it on our website. But I'm glad you guys get first dibs. That's your little present from Coach Yancy for having me on.
That's spectacular. It's awesome. That actually sounds really good. I was actually just trying to find out how far Iron Peaks, New Jersey was from here for us.
Yeah, it's not too bad. But you really and truly, that's back to what I was saying. Man, people are chasing those top 12s. There's, let's look at it. Let's look at the analytics. If you're top 5 or 6 right now in your age group, you're probably safe. But if you're like 8, 9, 10, 11, you're worried. If you're not going to Chicago, you're not going to West Palm, you might need to be worried because there's a lot of fast people, a lot of affiliates in Florida, for example, and a lot of fast people up in the Chicago area. So we got people that are like, okay, they're calling me saying, hey, Yancy, or tell me about those, the two cities and what's going to go on there. Who knows coming to those? Who's somebody new? Cause like what happened at SoCal, you had Glenn step in there, Chris Woolley, 2 people that weren't in the top 12. So 11 and 12 were vaporized. They got to find, like Jack Bauer's now at 13. He got to go find another one. And, you knew Chris and Glenn were going to be good, but there could be a Chris and Glenn in Chicago. There could be a Chris and Glenn in West Palm. And when you have 15 events every weekend, there's Deca Strong and Deca Mile people popping in all the time. So you've got hundreds of those age groupers that are on that bubble. And we love this. This was all by design. The affiliates benefit from that because people are getting in there and the competitive types are trying to get in there and, they're training hard at their affiliate gyms or wherever they're training. And then they go try to pinch off another 20, 30 seconds and shave off that time and get back up in the top 12. So I'll tell you what, those 2 or 3 weeks when those emails start going out and people start signing up, and we're going to give them 1 week, the top 12, 1 week. And that 8th day roll down emails start going. So there's going to be a rush to get signed up. And we are looking at possibly Texas next year for world champs. We like the idea for the center. Honestly, we wanted to give it to Northeast this year because they bought it. They have the most affiliates. We kind of give them a little fist bump for having the most affiliates, and it'll be in mini Vegas, New Jersey or Atlantic City. So kind of a destination, kind of.
I will back up. I will back up what you said there. So when I first did my Deca Strong, I missed the top 12 by about 15 seconds, something in that neck of the woods. I was in like 17th or 15th, something around there. Now I'm in 27th and I'm off by like almost a minute.
Right.
And that's how much and it's been so condensed where it was, it was like there was like a 13 on the top and then it was like a 16 on the bottom. There was a giant gap in time. And now that time is lessened by a minute. So now it's a 2-minute difference from it. So by the time you get around to Atlantic City, it's going to be really tight.
You know what I love about that? And this is the old 25-year fitness coach talking. We've seen stuff like that happen at the 5K. 5K comes back to town every year. And he's like, you want to improve your 5K time. I love that. You've seen other tests. It could be a triathlon or a marathon, whatever, common test. Or it could be Murph for that example. People do Murph every year. What I love is that as your Deca Strong improves, that you are becoming a well-rounded, better athlete. And the fact that we could have a bunch of friends that are overweight and unfit, and we can authentically invite them in, and we mean it. And we put our coaching out, like, get your butt in there. You're going to finish it. You're not going to be that fast at first, and they're going to finish it. And when they go to train for that, when you look at how it's designed, it's freaking well-rounded. They're going to nothing high risk, but good, well-rounded fitness. Remember when I can't remember if I ever told you guys, but we were, think 2,000 to 3,000 years ago when it wasn't fitness and exercise. It was basic movement for survival: push, pull, lift, carry, get over a basic obstacle in life, get on the ground, get back up, kneel down, stand back up, and 3 basic forms of transportation have been around for a long time: rowing, skiing, and bike. That's freaking Deca. I ain't got to teach you anything to step in the arena the first time. You can walk inside unseen and conquer it. But to your point, these people are training for it, and you know, they were 15 something at first in, now they're dropping 13s, low 14s. It's pretty amazing what we see. Sarah Herzlich, 70 something years old, doing it in 20 something freaking minutes. I mean, it's like a mid 20, if I remember right. It might be like 21, 22, if you want to look that up. 70 to 74 females. The girl is a cyborg. She would literally be in the top probably 30% of tens of thousands of females that have tested, and she's 70, and she has something to train for. So I just love that aspect of it. That truly just about everybody has their start line.
When I was in Horseheads, they had a 71-year-old woman go through there, and I believe she was a 29. She did. I think her name was Shannon. I think. Anyway, she did a 29, and I was just enthralled.
Impressive.
I was amazed. It was fantastic to see her go.
So impressive. So yeah, things are good. And the foundation is strong. And one more apology to anybody and everybody that we have that we let down. We appreciate you all. If you end up listening to this, any of the ones that have had the issues, if you end up listening to this, we appreciate you for and we can't say this enough. During a time when people trusted us and were actually said, you know what, I'm going to pay them a little bit every month, and I'm going to bolt this on and give this a try. To date, we've only had one gym leave us, and I'm so freaking proud of that. We've had one gym leave us. We have gyms, clubs, studios, and boxes. We have huge clubs that have started bolting us on. The largest gym franchise in the world, Anytime Fitness. They're more like mom and pops, but they're still the largest. Like 30 of us have bolted us on. 30 of them bolted us on. 20, 30 CrossFit boxes have bolted us on. Couldn't be more proud of that. You know why? CrossFit boxes, OCR gyms, Ninja gyms, those types are bolting us on because we improve their optics. Most people in your communities are scared to death to walk into those places, and we improve their optics. We're so proud of that. But back to what I was saying, we're thankful that gyms like Pinnacle, the one that made the post, that they trusted us and bolted us on, and many others. And the fact that people are benefiting from us being on the team together. We love each and every one of them. And we appreciate them. And it's been an amazing collaboration. It's been so much freaking fun doing business with them, because when you get into the fitness industry as a fit pro or coach, you don't do it to make millions. You do it because you love serving people. And that's what every good gym, 99% of good gym owners and general managers and fit pros, that's why they got into the business, because they wanted to serve people through fitness. It's the greatest drug on the planet. It's the one drug that we want to be addicted to. It gives us so much in return. And in most cases, it takes good coaches, good gym owners, good general managers managing those facilities. They've got to be creative and do good work, or you'll lose people. And they're doing the hard work every day to get people coming back. And coming out of COVID, we're seeing more and more people try gym memberships for the first time. And we love being a part of that journey with them.
Well, I'm about wrapped up, but I do have one more thing. And Bethany just here kind of gave me the idea. We need to set up a Deca beer mile, because I think that is a monumental thing and would be huge.
So wait. Okay. How would we, so you're drinking a beer every lap.
I don't think you could do one every like 10, because that's just
you'd have to do like half a beer.
What if you did like 2-ounce shots or something like that before every station?
Because we would have to be Deca, we would want to do 10 of something.
Yes.
So let's see. Oh, I freaking love it already.
How many ounces are in a regular beer?
12. Okay, it'd be 120 ounces if you, let's see. We'd have to do.
I mean, regular beer mile's 4 beer, right? So that would be like 48 ounces.
72 ounce, 6 beers. Oh man.
Oh,
my gears are turning, dude.
Well,
I'm gonna call Jack. I'm gonna call Jack when I'm done. We're gonna get this worked out.
Jack is killer at the regular beer mile, so he might be top of the leaderboard on this one.
Yeah. I mean, 6 ounces times 10.
It's 60.
Yeah, there you go. 5 beers. I mean, you'd have to have at that point, you'd have to do cups.
Yeah.
I think that would be, but what I like about that is it'd be 2 more beer, a little more aggressive than the old beer mile. We take one notch ahead.
You gotta go
and it's the running and the zones. That would be, man, I'm a little nervous of that myself. If I do that right now, I'd be nervous.
And it's more accessible to people who maybe are afraid and need to be half drunk to do some fitness.
Yeah, Deka'S on 7. You're like 4 beers in, but 3.5 beers in by 7. The Deca Gateway, that's the murder bike, and that's maybe you relax a little bit, not so bad.
What about the true beer mile where there's a penalty for puking?
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna want to do it out in the parking lot, not in their nice turf floor.
Maybe you got to double the run if you puke for that particular station there.
The last 2 minutes was 100% worth the podcast. This is all we talked about.
Dave and I'll test it out for you.
Oh, I'm terrible at that. I do get destroyed on that beer mile.
Oh, me too. I'll do it. True story. I got to meet Nick Simmons and Katie Mackey, 2 of the best freaking short middle distance runners in U.S. history. And they came down to do the beer mile at the Formula One track here in Austin.
Oh, nice.
And I mean, this is when Nick was dropping 143s in the 800, and Katie Mackey she's still an amazing athlete. She was one of the best middle distance runners in U.S. history. And they got their ass handed to them. They didn't practice for it. Some guy that was like a 435 miler dropped like a 455. He was barely off of his PR because he just trains for it. And Nick was like, Nick at the time could probably drop a 4 flat.
He's from Western London, Ontario. His name's Lewis Kent.
Who's this?
That's who did that.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I fist bumped him, probably didn't realize who I was fist bumping, that you guys know him. Anyway, Nick was like a 4 flat miler. He goes like 6:30. He was on his deathbed. I could have beat him by a minute and a half that day in the 1600 if I wasn't drinking. It was just so weird to see them get soul crushed. He and Katie Mackey was puking. We were working with him for Beat Elite. She had Beat Elite tattoos all over, and I was like in there taking video. I was like, man, I don't want this on video. She's amazing though. Katie Mackey is salt of the earth, amazing human. So is Nick. And I'm a track geek, probably like I know you are too, Bethany.
Yeah.
There could be an NFL, the Cowboys could be playing, but the track meet's on. I'm watching track meet.
Yeah, me too.
But,
that's awesome, Bethany. Why don't you wind us out?
Yeah, thanks so much, Yancy, for coming on. Thank you for your honesty and helping people gain perspective on this situation. So thanks so much for everything that you do.
Thank you, my friends. Much love. Appreciate you having me on.